Hi and welcome. And you might be thinking to yourself, what are we doing out here by this coastal kind of scenery in this beautiful sunshine? And well, let me tell you. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in town and I popped into Aldi for some biscuits. They were selling kayaks and wetsuits. Shh, 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 shh. So let's see what it's like. £54 kayak from Aldi. As you watch me head off on my maiden adventure, first kayak sailing, we'll look at some of the details. The assembly, or rather inflation, of the kayak took approximately 17 minutes, which I think is quite respectable, given that this was the first time doing so in the field and only the second time so far, the first time being in the conservatory to test it, and obviously in more favourable conditions. And the kayak is comprised of 5 panels. It has the floor as the first panel, 2 lower sections. All 3 of those use the standard sort of valve that you will be familiar with on your sort of poolside holiday inflatables. And then the 2 larger side panels use the much larger valves, and these are beneficial for 2 reasons. One of those is that they inflate much more quickly, and the second of those is that they deflate far more quickly. And it would have been nice to have seen these large valves on all 5 of those panels, but given the price point of the kayak, it's really not bad at all. But it did take 27 minutes to deflate the kayak enough to fit into its stuff sack to stow away, and that was just down to the 2 lower panels and the floor using the smaller valve, and it took much more fiddling about to get the last remnants of air out of there. So either an electric pump that will suck air out as well as blow air in would be beneficial here, or just make sure that you've got an adequate amount of time. At this point here, you can see I'm actually just grounded myself a little bit, and I'm just sort of pushing my way away from there. This section of water was not very deep, and it's the reason I chose it. It was probably about chest deep at the deepest point, and I chose this because I don't as yet have a life jacket. That's something that's on the list to get, and I wanted somewhere relatively calm and not too deep, just in case things didn't go to plan there. And the kayak in use, bearing in mind that I don't have anything to compare it directly to, is quite easy, I found. Once I'd got the swing of the paddling, it behaves quite nicely. It does zigzag quite a bit. It doesn't track very straight, which I guess is down to the lack of a skeg, the fact that the bottom is wide and flat, and my ineptitude at paddling a kayak, as this is my first attempt at doing so. But overall, I'm really pleased with it. For the price, I think it's an absolute bargain. It seems very sturdily made, very good and solid, and I would most certainly recommend this to anybody looking for something for a bit of fun. I would not, however, take this out onto any kind of rough water, and I could feel the currents on this one as it stood. One thing that is important to mention is that the kayak does not come with a pump. Now, I thought that it did, and hence the reason for the delay in getting this out onto the water and making this video, as I had to order a pump separately. The good news there is that these are available very cheaply, and I bought an Intech double action pump, which was just over £6 on Amazon. Lav mic disaster aside, Gotta say, this is really, really peaceful. Let's just have a pan round. There we go, that's where my gear is on the shore. Around to the railway bridge there, strong sunlight. Peaceful, nice. I'm in the process of deflating the kayak. I have had a good hour and a half out on the water, out on there with it. I've just stayed within this section here, kind of gone across to where the boat is over there, but generally stayed in this section here. You can actually feel the current at the railway bridge just there, and you can see it's, well, I don't know if you can on here, but let's zoom in for you. But it's actually much choppier out beyond there. I definitely wouldn't want to go beyond there just now. Obviously the tide's still coming in at the moment. It should be pretty much at its maximum round about now, I think. So I've been kind of staying around here in this bit, and I've got to say it's actually not bad. Obviously I'm a complete newbie regarding this, so you know, don't take this as some kind of in-depth, detailed expert review or anything. But anyway, let's get back to the point. I'm just giving this a quick sort of wipe down before I deflate it with a towel. I timed the inflation, I'm timing the deflation, because nobody ever talks about the deflation time. And I can tell you, this is my first proper one. I have done a sort of quick one in the conservatory when I inflated it, left it for an hour and a half, 2 hours, laid on it to put some weight on it, that kind of thing, just to make sure it stayed inflated and see how it was, and then deflated it, and I'm sure it took longer to deflate, so I'm timing it anyway, by the by. But I just flipped this over to towel that dry and check the underside, because I have, while I was out there on the water, and you sit in the middle, it does kind of sag in the middle quite a bit, and I'm 12.5 stone, which is 70 something kilos. I don't know kilos. I just can't get my head around them. But not huge, not exactly a lightweight, but not huge, you know. So it does sag a little bit in the middle, and I have unintentionally about 3 times brushed over some rocks and once run aground on some like rocky ground, and you can sort of see the kind of ground that we're talking about here. So it's big, sort of not particularly sharp rocks, but biggish rocks, and there's a lot of it around here because it's all, the ground's like this, you know. Obviously I didn't do that intentionally, I wasn't happy about it, but fingers crossed, so far it's actually not looking bad under there. There's no horrible scuff marks or anything, so I just wanted to film that little bit.